Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Reardon, and I'll be your mindset coach this evening. So what we're going to be talking about today is about human behavior. And human behavior is pretty neat because it's basically showing us who we are, what we do, everything we need to know. And if we can understand all those little things, then the big things start to matter. And that's where we want to be. We want to understand all of those little things because they add up to the big things. Is there a reason why you're not where you are? Most likely it's because you haven't determined what your behavior is. And before we get into that, please like, subscribe, share the video with anyone and whoever. Doesn't matter who. But share so people can learn. Because this topic that we're going to be talking today about is going to have the greatest impact on a person who doesn't understand where they stand, why their life is not exactly how they want it to be. Because people are going to say, oh, it's because of this person, or it's because of the government, or it's because of my boss or my environment. However, human behavior denotes that you are responsible after the environment has already taken its place. So if you're going to stay where you are, that's a choice. So we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be figuring out what's going to be the best for us. We're going to be figuring out how to get out of that. So before we do that, let's get into the blog so we can take a look at that. So again, if you are new to the stream, welcome. And we want to get to the website. So we go to revenconcepts.com. We're going to enter the website. We know to go to resources. There's plenty of free things, but we're heading over to blogs today. And we want to look at human behavior. So in human behavior is the blog that we're going to be talking about today. And reading the whole article, always a great thing. Listening to the whole video series, another great thing. Now, I don't go fully in depth when I'm talking about it because the way I write and the way I talk is going to be two totally different things. So my writing is a little bit more profound. When I speak, I make it a little bit more common. So anyone can say, I understand that. And that is what the goal is, to get you to understand. I don't want you to listen or be part of the stream and then you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. So that's where we are. So without further ado, human behavior. What is it? Well, human behavior is our actions, but simply our actions due to an outside stimulus. So if our outside stimulus is maybe negative, maybe something we don't really care for in some type of sense, we are thinking, how in the world are we going to be able to do this? And that is what we want to try to go after. We want to be able to figure out our character, our whole beings, all that stuff about us where we can focus. And I'm going to tell you a story, and then we're going to start breaking down your human behavior. So there's two boys. We'll just say they're twins. They were young, they were growing up in a two-parent household. There was a mother and there was a father. And the father was an alcoholic. He would go to work, provide for the family, but when he would come home, he would drink. And sometimes when he drank, he would harm his wife. Whether it hit, yell, verbal, some type of toxic relationship, right? Or behavior. And what had happened in that environment was the two boys saw their mother being berated, right? The two boys saw the mom get hit or the mom get yelled at for something. And no matter what she did, it wasn't good enough for the husband because the husband was an alcoholic. So he would come home upset at work or his boss and take it out on someone who wasn't able to do anything about it, his wife. So the two boys see what's happening. That's their environment, right? And we can agree that's a toxic environment, right? To see a parent harming another parent, whether it be physical or mental. That's a toxic environment. And if you don't understand why it's toxic, there's a little bit more that needs to be talked about then. Because if we have a positive household where father, mother, maybe they're both working, but they're both being positive. They're both caring, loving. They're very careful with how they speak to each other, not in the sense that they don't want to hurt someone's, each other's feelings, but not to show the children they're bringing up, they're raising, that is acceptable. So in a positive household, if a man and a woman are in a disagreement, they should have had communication that if they're in front of the child, not to have a disagreement in front of them. And say, okay, and then to talk about it later. That'll be the most positive thing. Now, in the heat of the moment, no, that's not going to happen because, of course, the feelings are going, you're angry, you're upset, and you're going to act, you're going to respond. And your kids see that. And that's what happened with these two young boys. They saw the reactions. And the father, even though he was an alcoholic, he didn't really want to change, right? There was no need for him to change. Why would he change? He's going to work, he's providing for the family, he's coming home, and he's doing what he wants. Even though he's unhappy, there's no motive to change. So if there's no motive to change, why would he? And kids see that too. So it's a process, and it's a recurring theme. I can be negative, and I can yell, and I can shout because I went to work. That's my right. I feel entitled because I went to work, and I'm providing for this family, so I'm going to yell, and I'm going to scream, and I'm going to hit you, I'm going to yell at you, and you're going to feel like crap. How's that positive? But the boys saw that. So the boys are in that type of environment again, and they see it constantly. So as time goes, of course, the boys grow up. Eventually, they move out of the house, and they get, their own wives and their own families. One boy had a wife, was an alcoholic, and he would come home from work, he would drink, he would yell at his wife, yell at the kids, everything his father did. And when asked why he was like that, the boy responded, because I saw my father do it. That's how my father was. Because I watched my father. Then we had the second boy. And this one was a little bit different because he didn't grow up and have a marriage that was filled with anger and hate and substance abuse. He was an alcoholic. He didn't drink. He loved his wife. His wife loved him. He loved coming home. He loved going to work. He was the total opposite of his brother and his father. So, when asked, how do you turn out this way? Why are you like this? And the boy responded, because I watched my father. Two totally different people with one understanding, that if I watch my environment, my surroundings, I can take what is showing me, or I can say, what is showing me is not what I want. So I'm going to choose the alternative. And that's what the second boy did. He chose the alternative. And we have that choice too. Our behavior is to see our environment and to grow with our environment. Why do you think cancel culture is so strong, or social media trends are so frequent? Behavior, human behavior. And it has to do with fitting in, peer acceptance. If I can be accepted by my peers, I will feel validated. I will feel whole. I will be happy. Maybe. But that's not the case when it comes to our true human behavior. Because our true human behavior is we want to be happy. We want to be fed. We want to be clothed. We want to have shelter. All of our basic needs met. But then we want to feel satisfied. We want to feel whole. We want to feel like our life has some type of purpose. And that's where I find many people struggle. They are going along with this concept of what their environment is showing them, and they're running along with it, and they're not thinking about what other alternatives they can take. What other paths can they travel down? Why do you think boys in the hood join gangs, sell weed, smoke, drink, don't become anything more than just a hoodlum? And I'm not saying those men are bad or women are bad. I'm just saying human behavior. They see their environment and they copy it. They mimic it. And the advice I give people, I say, if you don't like where you are, get the hell out. You don't have to stay there. But you also have to be wise enough to understand something. That if you keep going down this road, will it lead to where you want to be? And I don't think many people ask themselves this question, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Let's look at online spicy content, for example. We have men and women. They'll go, when they're young, go out and promote themselves, right? Their whole body. And while they do that, they're enjoying life at the moment. They're having fun. They're making money. But somewhere down the line, at some point, they might say, I wish I never got into this. Why is that? It's because the image that they have is tarnished. Them as a person, scandalous, maybe dirty. And no matter how much scrubbing you do, people are going to have that perception of you? How will people perceive you? And though you shouldn't be worried about what people think about you, you should be more concerned with what you're doing. And if it is good, good. And if it's not good, how can we make it good? And good for us. Because at the end of the day, we have ourselves to worry about. Because if you can worry about yourself, number one, you can take care of the whole world after. But you come first. And that's where these people are coming after a realization, saying, I didn't put myself first. I saw the money. I saw the opportunities. But I didn't see where I would be in the end. So human behavior is looking at that as a whole. We're looking at it as, okay, why does someone do this? Why does someone join OnlyFans? Why does someone go on Instagram and, have provocative pictures? It's because your self-worth, peer acceptance, human behavior. You don't go far from when you have a middle school mindset in your late teens and early adulthood ages. Up until age, I would say 25, 26. And the reason that is because it is all about peer acceptance. You want to feel proud in that what you're doing has some validity. How many people graduate college or high school and you have all of your fan club? You got grandma, you got grandpa, you got mom, dad, auntie, uncle, brother, sister, friends, cousin, whoever you wanted to bring. And it's a party and celebration of you. And the understanding that you are now accepted. You did something good. You're praised for doing something good. And graduation is nothing to be shunned at where, oh, you graduated? Well, whoop-de-doo. No. It is an accomplishment. Understand that. But understand human behavior also at the same time. We are blinded to see human behavior because it's natural. Our environment is natural. The air we breathe. Do you worry about the air you breathe? When's the last time you thought about, I'm breathing some oxygen? It doesn't happen. Unless you're on the water, you're a scuba diver or something. But I digress. You want to focus on looking at your environment as a whole. And I do this for my clients. I look at what their life entails, right? If you're a parent, if you are in a relationship, maybe you're single. Do you like your job? What do you do for work? Everything. And I look at how that environment affects you, right? Because if it's not good, you're depressed, you're upset, you want change, well, let's see what needs to be changed. Just like you don't know you're breathing oxygen, you don't really understand where the problem is in your life. It could be a person. It could be your mom, even your dad, who knows? It could be a person that is that negative aspect that is holding you back. That person who's being an anchor in your life and not helping you progress further into success, into accomplishment, into a life of abundance. So how can we get away from our bad environment and start to look at being able to get into behaviors and habits that are conducive for a healthy life? And the trick is to read the blog. Number one, because I give several points, but the point I'm going to give right now is to schedule your day. And I tell you this all the time. You have to have a schedule. And you have to know what your day's filled with. Because if you don't have a schedule, you are going to be prone to what the world throws at you. So you go to work, and at work, maybe you had a bad day, right? It's understandable, right? You can have a bad day at work, and life's not over. But then you come home, and you have an option now. Well, what's on your schedule? Well, wait, I don't have a schedule. So I'm going to drink a bottle of wine and watch The Golden Girls. Nothing wrong with The Golden Girls. It's a great show to watch. I'm sure the wine's very nice. They say a glass a day is pretty healthy. So what's wrong with that scenario? Well, what's wrong with that scenario is that it's not going to promote growth. Because if you do that 7 days a week, 365 for the rest of your life, where's your empire? So after working, you had a stressful day, and that's your habit, your routine to do that. You got to start to look at how you can promote growth in your life. And when you can start to do that little bit, then you can start to change your own behaviors, your habits. And the easiest way to do that is having a schedule. And then having someone look at your schedule too, because if you just look at your schedule, you won't see the bad points. You will say, okay, well, I'm going to go on YouTube for 3 hours. I'm going to watch Netflix for one movie. It was just, let's just say 2 hours, just for the sake of the schedule. So that's already 5 hours. And we're going to go out with friends for about 3 hours. That's a lot of time. I mean, maybe on a Friday or on a Saturday, if you wanted to do that as like a treat for you from doing, let's say, what you were supposed to be doing throughout the week, then good. You earned it. Graduation. Accept being amongst your peers and everyone being ecstatic that you came out to the club or the bar. How do your friends feel when you walk in? How do they greet you? Do they go, oh, Paul's here. Whoa, Paul, come on, Paul. Woo, Paul's in the house. Or do they say, all right, Paul's here, everyone. Come on, Paul, we're over here. Come on, Paul. Paul comes and you have a regular night. There's nothing wrong with just going out for a drink and having a regular night. But do you want to have a regular life? And what does regular mean to you? Does it mean being able to pay your bills? Going on a vacation once a year, maybe twice a year? Having money in your savings account for retirement? What does that mean? And it has to be specific to you, because if it's not specific to you, then how is it going to matter? So you want to understand something. And the thing you want to understand the most is you are responsible for the choice after your environment has engulfed you. So you choose a path when you are in high school, we're going to say high school, where you decide where you want to be when you grow up. And after you are grown up, and now let's say you're an engineer. So now you're an engineer. What is your environment? Maybe you're working in Tesla, right? Like you're working at Tesla and you're making good money, right? Tesla has a good work environment where people are relatively satisfied. They might be stressed because the job is very demanding. However, that challenge can be looked at in two ways. Oh, my boss is a tyrant. I really don't want to do this anymore. I hate my job. 2, this job is a challenge, but I prefer to have a challenge than to just have a mundane job where every day is going to be the same thing. And every day I understand this is what I have to do, but there's no challenge. because I'm already good at it. I already perfected what my job title is. That's the second part where people struggle. They need promotion. And maybe not so much promotion where they're getting more moolah, but they need to be validated. Why do you think in relationships, one or both of the partners need to feel some type of love? Why? They need promotion constantly. They need to keep feeling good. They need a reason to stay in it. So what's your reason? What's your reason for wanting to go home tomorrow? And we're not going to talk about people getting into the mindset where their life doesn't matter anymore. We're not going to talk about that because that's a totally different subject. We're talking about your general life. Tomorrow comes and it's just another day. Because how many of you can raise your hands, or you could nod your heads, or you could give me a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. How many people know when it's Friday? How many people know when it's Sunday? And how many people know when it's Monday? A good amount of you. Because people wait for Friday. On Sunday, they're dreading Monday. And when they get to Monday, they're hoping for Friday. How can you live life in a circle when you're waiting for another day to come, when that day is there for you to experience, but you're choosing to look into the future at another day because you feel it's more important? You feel that your happiness is going to be attained when you get to Friday. You feel as if your happiness is going to be diminished at the end of Sunday. And you're so excited again on Monday for Friday. What would happen if you were excited every single day of the week? How much could you accomplish? A lot. You are the change that you want for your life. Just like the boys in the story that I told you earlier about, they had a choice. They could choose to be like their father, be an alcoholic, have a bad relationship, or they can say, I don't want that for my life. Which the other boy did. And I'm not saying that your parents gave you a bad life. You might have wonderful parents, which many people do. But what happens after that? What happens after you see your parents in a loving relationship? Or if you see your parents working 9 to 5, but able to provide, go on vacations, and do their thing. What happens if you maybe are more fortunate and you have a parent who's a business owner and they're doing their thing? They're making buttloads of money, or enough money for the whole entire family, where everyone doesn't have to be scrounging for money or working and to their bones, just to get a check. They're financially free. They can work if they want to work. They can stay home if they want to stay home. They're set. But it's not so much about being set we look for. We look for an environment where growth is in line with who we want to be. Because if I gave you everything you needed right now, you won't hold on to it. You won't. Do you want a big house? You want to say, well, whatever car you want, Lamborghini, Tesla, doesn't matter the car. I give you that. Let's say you want a relationship with someone. I give you that. You get all the things that you want, right? How long will you keep it? How long would you maintain your house? Get the paint done, the landscape. If anything is broken, fix it. Because the shine wears off pretty quick. The same thing with the car. In the beginning, oh, I love my baby. This is my baby. I'm going to wash her. You wash her every single day. You give her a vacuum every single day. Or him. You wash the car. You take care of the house, clean the house. And sometime down the line, the house is just a regular house that you come home to. The car is just another car you get into to get to A to B. And then the last part, so we have our house, we have our car, but then we have our relationships, where we're in a relationship and it's not the same as it was, right? It's different. You're not the same person I met when I was 18, or we're not growing together, we're growing apart. Whatever you're thinking, I gave you that. A house, a car, a relationship. But you forgot to make your house a home. You forgot to make your car a means for progress to your destination. You forgot to make your relationship your pride and your joy. And there's a problem with not doing that. We learn that it's okay not to do it. So we're in a bad environment and we learn it's okay not to do anything. And I'm not picking on people, but I am going to say this. If you are on government assistance, what are you doing to get off it? That's all I'm going to say. And the same is true if you're in a job and it's a dead-end job. What are you doing to get out of that dead-end job? No matter what environment you are in, you can get out of it. However, you need to apply yourself. You need to put in work. And a lot of people don't want to put in work because they're okay with the scraps they're getting in life. That's why we have our highly successful people in the world, our top 20%, who are making something out of themselves. Then we have 80% that maybe make a good living, right? Maybe some don't, right? Because it could be two spectrums. It is a far margin. However, what is stopping that 80% from wanting to be the 20%? Human behavior. Who you surround yourself with is more important than what you do. Because if you're seeing your environment, it's going to be a lot easier and more simpler. I don't know, simpler word, but is a word. More simple for you to understand that this is accepted. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, who make more money than you, who are more ambitious than you. It rubs off. Who are more healthy than you, who have higher expectations than you. It doesn't matter as long as they have good goals, they want progress, they're making progress, and you want that too. Because if you don't want it, you're not going to be in that environment. I can almost guarantee you that. You're going to find a nice little hole with a bunch of people that are either below you or at your level, and you're going to say, this is life. This is cool. I'm okay with this. And you don't have to have a six-pack and be in shape, flat belly, and go on 59 vacations every year and have $1 billion in the bank. You don't need that in order to be successful, because success is derived by what you believe success is. But do not say you're successful and play the lotto. Do not say you're successful and gamble. Do not say you're successful and you don't have a healthy household, children who are growing up to be something more than you were. Because if you're a parent, that's part of the success plan. Our minds are all mixed up. And we don't even understand it. And we don't even realize where we are going to, because we're being led by a crowd, by the masses, by the people around us, and not by our own ambitions. So we need to switch that around. Our behavior, what we do, needs to serve who we are going to be. Because if it's not, what behavior are you looking for? What types of things do you want for your life? So, creating a schedule. Highly, highly recommend creating a schedule, because it's not only going to be able to show you what you're doing, it's going to show you who's going to try to take you off that schedule. Because you're going to get a call from Becky, and Becky's going to say, come on, girl, let's go out. But on your schedule on Friday, it says to, let's say, read. You don't have to read on Friday, but it says read. And you say, but Becky, I have to follow my schedule and I have to read a book. You don't need to read a book. You can read a book tomorrow. Come on out. Let's have some fun. Reluctantly, you go out and you and Becky go out to a bar and you don't read your book. The next day, you're hungover. You don't get anything done on your schedule. What happened? What was Becky? Becky was an anchor. Becky was a person who slowed you down. You're making progress. You're cooking. You're getting it done. And all of a sudden, stop. I want to go party. I want to go have fun. You're coming with me. It doesn't work. So if we continue to have that same mindset that we did in middle school, we're going to just be a part of the system. I saw it. One of the tricks, if you're a teacher, listen very carefully. You can have your class do what you need to do from peer pressure alone. Not your peer pressure, because they don't care. You're not their peer. You're a teacher. What their peers around them, they're trying to be accepted. They need to be accepted. So if you're having trouble in a classroom, or if you want to reach a certain goal, use peer pressure. It's going to be the greatest motivator you have in a classroom. And the way I did that in middle school, because in middle school you have a bunch of hormones flying around left and right, so you have to deal with that. But I would have my class, and classes are, I want to say 90 minutes, but maybe a little bit less. So we would work 85 minutes. And then the last 5 minutes, they had a chance to unwind. They could talk to their friends. They could, move around. Because I'm not going to put one troublemaker next to another troublemaker, because now no one's learning. So they're separated, but they're magnets, right? They need to be together. So in that 5 minutes, they have that opportunity to come together. And they appreciate that. Not so much, it's only 5 minutes, but the opportunity to be amongst their peers uninvited. To a certain point, right? If they got too loud, of course, I'm going to say, hey, stop that. But to a certain point. And how I applied it was I put 3 lines on the board. I explained to them what the lines meant. And if we got all the lines erased, guess what? No free time at the end. So class begins, and we're 20 minutes in, and their attention span is, and their hormones are like, oop, 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 this, that, and this, and they have to talk to their friend, or they have to look at the phone, whatever they're going through. I understand. But at the same time, they're not going to interfere with the learning. They're not going to disrupt the classroom. So, we're teaching, we're working, we're getting the job done. But someone in the classroom is talking. Maybe they're not paying attention. Trying to be a class clown, whatever it be. I go over to the board, I erase a line, and I don't stop teaching. I'm teaching. I have an agenda. I have a mission. And we're going to keep on teaching. Or I'm going to keep on teaching. They're going to keep on learning. So when I erase the line, I don't know if I have to tell you who. Who is the person? Every one of those students know. Every single one looks at that person and they go, "What are you doing?" They might say, let's say Kevin. "Kevin, stop it. It's not funny." Right? Now Kevin's like, "What? Okay." And it has some type of negative effect too on the child who's being bad because they want to be accepted and they're not being accepted. So after that little snippet of the students disciplining the kid, not me yelling at him saying, "Kevin, stop it. Go to the principal, get out of the classroom like you're disrupt." That's more disruptive than the class saying, "Kevin, stop it. I want, at the end of class, I want to be able to talk for 5 minutes." It doesn't, that 5 minutes is gold to them because they don't get it anywhere else. Maybe at lunch and stuff like that, but in a classroom setting, no, it doesn't happen. So it's so new, and they want it because they want to be amongst their peers, being able to socialize. And once the peer acceptance starts to break down, you start to learn. They start to learn. And it doesn't work in every classroom because you might have kids that don't like each other, or a kid who's just so far an outcast where they don't care if the whole class doesn't like them. So you modify what you do. You just modify it. And it could be the 3-strike rule, kind of what I told you, or there's multiple other ways that you can go about that. You don't need to have 5 minutes at the end. You can just make learning fun too. How you do that is up to you, right? It should be very close in line to your personality and what you feel comfortable with and your type of training. So that's human behavior in the classroom setting. So they want to be accepted and get their 5 minutes. How about the workplace? So you want to go to work. You sit at your desk, your cubicle, or wherever your spot. And you work and you work and you work. You get lunch. Maybe you go out with coworkers. And there you're just maybe, talking about whatever, right? Maybe you make some friends, and at work, passing you to go to the bathroom or to the water cooler, you stop or they stop and they chat you up a little bit. You're a little bit less productive, but you enjoy this chat because you're getting away from your work. Maybe you love it, maybe you don't like it. Maybe you're the type of person who says, "You know what, I really don't want to talk to you right now because I'm working." That's fine. You could be that type of person. I'm not saying you can't. It's not a bad thing. But how many people do that? Because even in the workplace, you're going to be looking at being accepted. Because if you're going to go into work and you don't feel accepted in some type of way, you won't stay at that job very long, because you're going to sustain that job. And if you do, you're going to be a very unhappy person. That's why it's so important to understand your environment. What does it bring you? Does it bring you happiness, joy, peace? Or does it bring you anger, despair, hate? And look, in every facet of your life, whether it be your career, be your relationship, or even looking at yourself, what is becoming of you? What is happening? And that can all be looked at from the outside in, because your behaviors are going to lead you to where you want to be. If you have a habit or a behavior of eating healthy, most likely you're going to be healthier. The probability goes up. Same thing with working out, going to the gym. And then on the negative side, the same thing is true if you're going to be going out with friends and drinking. So you want to make sure what you do, your behavior, is in line with your goals. And your goals should be written down. Not just, I want to be this when I grow up, or I want to do this in a year. You need to say, this is my goal. I have it written down, and I have a plan. How many of you have goals? How many of you have dreams? Do you have any of those at least? Because if you have a dream, we can build a plan. And if you have a plan, we can get you where you need to be. A lot of people stop at dreaming. They daydream. They daydream of a better tomorrow, but with no action today. And if you're not going to apply action, how could you ever have a better tomorrow? Yes, luck exists, but it's not great enough of a probability for you to chance your whole life on luck. Because even if you did, luck runs out. And that's why you need to have skills and a mindset that is able to maintain what you build. I talked about earlier winning the lotto, or an abundance of money, or if I gave you a house, a car, and a great relationship. Could you keep those things long term? And not keep because you feel obligated, but you keep because you want to, because they bring you some type of joy. Somewhere on your path, your mind took over, your feelings took over, your environment took over, and you stopped progressing. And you said, this is normal. What is around me is normal. And simply accepting what's around you is not the way you should be living. If you don't like something, change it. And I see this so frequently. People are afraid to change. And the only reason, or not the only reason, but one of the prime reasons people change is because of some type of hardship, turmoil, or trauma. A negative. Why do you need a negative to want a positive life? Why can't I tell you to say, I can get what I want if I put in work today, so I'm going to put in work? Why choose to live with less when you can have more? And don't even give me that BS saying, well, I'm a monk and I'm a minimalist. And no, you're not. You have a dream, you have a goal. What is it? Be very true. Be very truthful in what you say. And you might have an okay life. Your life might be okay. You have a good relationship. You have a good job, right? You're making good money. You're not worried about a car, of course. When you go on vacations, you're not worried about that. But there's aspects of your life that when they happen, it's detrimental to who you are. Whether it be my partner did this to me, my job did this to me, this person did this to me, I'm upset. Why are people so dumb, etc., right? You can make any excuse you want for your temporary unhappiness or displeasure, because we need some of that too. It's like the yin and yang, the good and the bad. We need problems in our life. That is how we remain human. Because if we didn't have any problems, we wouldn't seek growth. Similar to why you feel hungry. Your belly rumbles. Up, I have a problem. What is the solution? The solution is I'm going to go get food. Okay. That's an easy one. Everyone typically gets that one, right? I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. Well, what can I do? I'm going to get something to drink. Now, this is where people drink soda. They're not necessarily wrong. It's a liquid. But it's also sugar. If you're thirsty, you feel thirsty, drink some water. Something that's going to hydrate you better than the soda, a sugar drink. I'm not saying you can't have a sugar drink, but if you're thirsty, dehydrated, right? What are you drinking? Water, typically, right? Great. Okay. So we know that too. Maybe you're in a relationship and let's say they're upset with you. Okay, well, what does the person like? They like flowers and chocolate, so I'm going to bring them flowers and chocolate. Give them flowers and chocolate, and boom. They're happy. That was easy. But that's a problem, because all of those things are fixes. They're problems, but they're solutions. And the same thing is if you're broke. I'm broke. What do I do? And there's many avenues for this, and this is where it's like 30, 45 minutes of me coaching someone on that question alone. What do you do? What is your behavior? When you're down and you're out, what do you do? What is your human behavior if you fall over? Do you get back up? And if you say you get back up, if you have a failure in your life, you shouldn't be quitting. If you fail at, let's say, getting a job or a test, how does that make you feel? No, I'm stupid. I can't do this. This wasn't meant for me. I'm going to quit. Because how many dropouts do we have in college? A good number, right? I think over the years we have gone down in our college dropouts, our high school dropouts. Maybe it's still high. I would have to do some more research on that, definitely. How about our relationships? In the toilet, right? More people are choosing to not be in relationships than they are choosing to be in relationships. Why is that? It's a problem. If I'm not in a relationship, I don't have to deal with that problem. Human behavior. Cancel culture. Your environment. What the world shows you is what you see, and then what you see is going to depict how you're going to operate. So if you want to operate under the premise of what someone told you, great. If you want to operate under the premise of someone told me this knowledge, I'm going to check to see if it's valid, and if it is valid, I'm going to apply it in my life. Great. Or you can be third person. I'm not going to look at my environment. I'm going to look inward, and I'm going to determine what I want and what I need. So depending on where you are, it's a different answer. But your answer, there's consequences to it. And the consequences can be good consequences. If I go to the gym, I'm going to get in shape. Great consequence. I like that consequence. I'm going to go to the gym. If I eat this salad instead of that McDonald's hamburger, the consequence is I'm going to get in shape. I like being in shape. I like being healthy. Look at your consequences. What does it bring you? Human behavior. We see around people doing all these things, and then we say, oh, this person's doing that. I'm going to do that too. So you have to dare greatly when it comes to being able to look at your environment and saying, I like it, I'm just going to stay here, or I don't like my environment, I want to change. And if you want to change, start to change. You don't have to stay where you don't like to be. You're not stuck yet. This is not the end of the road yet. If you're listening to this, this is not the end of the road. You could be at rock bottom. You could have lost it all. And I'm telling you, you can get back up. It's a choice. Surround yourself with people who are where you want to be. And simply understanding that you can start to make progress again. You can start to say, all right, this was a hurdle. I hit rock bottom. But I'm going to get to where I want to be, right? I'm going to have a successful life. I'm going to be free, whatever it be, whatever you choose for yourself. And no matter what people do that is opposite of what my behavior I want for myself, I'm going to ignore it. So if people want to hate, if people want to discriminate, if people want to yell and shout, lie, whatever, that's them. But how about you? Do you want that for yourself? Going back to the story I told you in the beginning of the two boys, both saw their father drinking, but one chose not to follow in the footsteps of the father. He said, I don't want to be like my father. I want to be someone different. My environment is not going to mold me. I am going to mold my environment. Human behavior can be molded. What do you think teachers do? They mold your children into being functional adults. Now, the school system is another topic, but a teacher's goal and mission should be to prepare their students to being successful adults. And the school system, with their curriculum, sometimes avoids the most essential areas a person needs to know. Money, finances, taxes, things don't grow in trees unless it's fruit. So how's it made? How's it produced? Etc. And yes, you need to know your English, your math, your history, and all that stuff. But American history, all of it. We're not censoring something because it hurts someone's feelings. You learn it. And I won't forget the time when I was in Georgetown, Texas, because I'm in the Austin area. I was in Georgetown, Texas. I was going for some pizza. And there's a Confederate statue in downtown Georgetown. And so I was passing. And if you haven't known, I'm a black man. I identify as a black man. And there's a Confederate statue there. And there was some BLM people outside. But the BLM people were not black. They were white. Nothing against them. They're great people. Love them. But I was walking by and they asked me, they said, "Excuse me, sir, would you like to sign a petition to get the statue removed?" And I looked at him. I was like, "No, thank you." That man gave me the dirtiest look in his life. He's like, "What? But sir, you are black. You should be very upset with this statue." Okay. I'm not going to sign your petition. Take care. And I walked away. Now he's confused. He's like, why did this person not sign my petition? Why is he not upset that this statue's here? That's history. And what happened yesterday has no concern for what's happening in my life today, because I define my own future. My environment is exactly what I want in my life. If I don't want it in my life, it's not going to be in my life. I guarantee you that. So if someone or something is not promoting my growth or helping embellish my life, I guarantee you it's not going to stay there long. Unless it's like a puppy or something like that, because they're pretty cute, but they're time consuming. We're not going to get into that. But even a dog, unconditional love, right? There's always a caveat. I'm not going to be swayed by someone else's opinion. He wanted to take the statue down because that was his feeling. I feel this statue should be taken down because it represents a time in history that was negative to African Americans. Okay. But what about today? I'm not worried about the Confederate statue. I'm worried about how am I going to be better tomorrow? Why am I going to sign a petition that's not going to have any facet in that? And if you think even for a moment that me signing a petition to have a Confederate statue taken down is going to make my life somehow better, you can talk. You can tell me. And I will listen. But at the same time, you're not going to convince me, because I already know there's nothing going down that path that's going to say, "Oh, well, I'm glad I signed that petition." No. Human behavior. There is injustice in the world. Yes. The world is not fair. Yes. But understand one thing. Life in general is not fair. You're born kicking and screaming in this world, and there's a chance that you're going to die alone. Why not make the best years of your life the best years? You don't need to hate. You don't need to solve every problem that the world has, because if it's not your problem, why try to solve it? And what I do as a mindset coach is you have a problem, I have a solution. If you would like the solution, I will give you the solution. I will give you the advice. But it's not mandatory. It is not. People have become so entitled and so opinionated where if their opinion and their self-worth is somehow tarnished or attacked, they feel a need to defend themselves. If someone says something bad about me, I go, is that so? All right. Sounds good. All right. And I understand the whole adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Words hurt. They do. But what do you do with that hurt? Do you use that hurt and you say, I'm going to punch this person. I'm going to knock him out. Or do you use that hurt and you say, you know what? I don't like this environment. I'm going to get out. Human behavior. Get out. Get out of the life you are living and go into the life you want to be living. And yes, that may be very political. That may be a life where you're trying to solve all the world's problems. That's cool. You can do that. But at the same time, why be confused by someone else's opinion? My opinion is that you can be amazing. My opinion is that you have the potential to be great, to have an abundance lifestyle. That's my opinion. I've helped people get there. I've seen people fail right in front of me. I had offered my hand and said, let's go, buddy. I'll lift you up. Smack my hand away. I don't need your help. Okay. Is that so? And I carry on. Because human behavior is going to be human behavior. And right now we're in the process of repeating history. Pay attention. So don't allow your human behavior to be your downfall. So that was going to be the video for today. And we talked about human behavior. Definitely go to the blog at reverendconcepts.com/resources. And on the bottom, you'll see blogs. And then the latest blog will be human behavior. And simply understanding your behavior and human behavior in general is going to allow you to further progress yourself on your journey, right? Where you want to be. So I highly recommend you reading that blog and understanding that the life you want is only a few actions away. So start to take the right actions needed for you to have the life you want. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can email me at coachinginsession@gmail.com. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And if you have any questions that you would like answered, again, you can email me. If you have any topics you would like covered, you can also send those to an email. If you would like to work with me, head over to reverendconcepts.com and sign up for a free session to see if we're a good fit and then to see what I can do for you. Until then, take care.